Connecticut State University. And we have 4 speakers this morning, and I would like all of you, please, to watch my hands. I'll signal you when you have 5 minutes more. I'll do that, so be looking at me. And first we have Josh Kent, and he's from SUNY, and he said to pronounce it Geneseo? Okay, Geneseo. Okay, sorry about that. And he's going to be talking to us about perceptions and practice of development in rural Haiti. But before you do that, Josh, will you say a few words about yourself and your plans?
I'm Josh Kent, as she has said. I'm in my 6th semester at SUNY Geneseo, studying international relations with a focus in developing the world of Spanish. And as for plans, at this point I'm not really sure. I'm hoping to go back to Haiti and continue working there after I graduate. So as I said, we have a brief overview of my presentation. Is the data I collected that I'm presenting today I collected from interviews with residents of rural Haiti. And in my interviews, my discussions, I found kind of an inherent tension between the concepts of sustainability and dependency and the modern practices of development. And also within discussing development with local residents, found a number of key ideas and themes they brought up a lot. The first being the phrase tête ensemble, literally translating the heads together, a holistic view of development, and their stress of bottom-up implementation and sustainability. But before I really get into that, I'm going to start out with 2 stories. The first comes from my first trip to Haiti, back from January to June of 2011, in a slum of Port-au-Prince called Salino. Running through that slum is this canal that you see here, absolutely filled with trash. See, that's a pig actually living in the middle of it. And this canal had been cleaned twice before I came. Both times an organization, a large organization, came in, cleaned it, and left. Both times it filled right back up again. While I was there, an organization came in and sat with the residents of the area and asked them, like, why do you keep filling it up? There was a misconception that that was a service of NGOs. They had nowhere else to put their trash, so they put it there. And later, the NGO would come and clean it out. Thus kind of facilitating a cycle of dependence and necessity of help from the outside. So that's the first story. Kind of keep that in mind and the idea of the second is the story Fig T. Samuela, or the Little Banana of Samuel. This is a story from Borgne, Haiti, where I was doing my research this summer. And to give some context of it, it's a commune, as they call it, political district on the northern coast. It has about 60,000 residents, no electricity, no roads, no infrastructure of any sort. Walking from one side to the other, have to go over 2 mountains, it takes about 8 hours. And it's basically a subsistence agricultural living. There's bananas, mangoes, yams, coconuts are some of the primary staples. Really, bananas being one of the most important and the most common. And most lakou, the Creole word, or family compounds, have banana trees on them for their own food. And so, this is Samuel. And so the story of the Fig T. Samuela is in 1991, after the fall of Jean-Bertrand Aristide, Haiti's first president, a military junta was running through, killing people, and hundreds of thousands of people had to flee, one of them being Samuel. And he went to the Dominican Republic, and while there, he found this particularly fruitful banana. And he had the idea he would get this banana, take it, and bring it back to his community to kind of share it and help people. Help people have some more food, make a little money. So he brought it back and he shared it. And slowly it spread throughout the entire area. And today, 15 years later, it's found in every section of Borgne and the neighboring areas. And it's really seen as a positive economic influence on the area. They're able to sell to neighboring areas, and people really like this banana. They're really actually obsessed with it. I've talked to a lot of people about it many times. They're crazy about it. They think it's the best thing ever. And so this kind of leaves us with 2 results of development. First, we have the canal, which I saw recently, still filled with trash. And then we have a banana that spread through and brought about some small amount of change. It was an organic solution that really spread through the area and helped. And this really raises the question of what is development? Because that cleaning of the canal is really what most people in the Western world would see as development, going in, doing it now. And we wouldn't see the spread of banana really that much as it. So we have a very brief overview of three prominent development theorists. The first two being Jeffrey Sachs and Dambisa Moyo. And they kind of look through opposite ends of the same lens. They both are focused on economic growth as the means of development, and kind of, as the words they use, getting poor countries on the ladder of development so the dynamism of self-sustaining growth can take hold. It's a very powerful way of putting it. That's how Sachs does it. And then kind of opposed to them is Amartya Sen. Amartya Sen has pioneered what's called a capabilities approach. It has a focus on human development. And for Amartya Sen, he really would argue the enhancement of people's ability to read and write, or to be well-nourished and healthy, should be considered ends in themselves, even if conventionally measured economic return on investment in literacy or improved food intake and healthcare is zero. While Sachs and Moyo would view those improvements as human capital, as if they bring back a positive investment, then it's development. For Sachs, that's the means is increasing people's freedoms, ability of choice. So this is the question I really focused my research on this summer. I was working with an organization, Haiti Outreach Project Espoir. It's directed by Rosemary Carici, the head of anthropology at SUNY Geneseo. While there, I conducted a series of interviews discussing with peasant organizations, local youth groups, and employees of Hope. And the interviews varied, but they all had one question in common, which is, according to you, what is development? And so right now I'm going to present to you some of those ideas and kind of illustrate the way they view development, and to them how they describe it and what it is. So the first is, back to the three main ideas, is tête ensemble. And so an example of this would be, I worked with a youth organization called Aji Police. It's been started by Hope. Throughout Borgne, it now has about 64 sections with over 3,000 members. And with the local section, I sat down with them, and we were discussing how to really address the issue of all this plastic they had cleaned up. They cleaned up their area, but now they had thousands of plastic bottles and nothing to do with it. And so we're discussing development. He used this as an example of what development is. So here's the quote would be, if, for example, we come and sit together and resolve a problem, that we can say is development. And this is really how they view it, is that for development to happen, there has to be this sitting together, this share of ideas. But even beyond that, it's really encompassing the share of ideas, participation, respect, and understanding. To further illustrate this is another quote from a member of a peasant organization I talked to. Development begins with coming across an idea, finding other people who accept that idea, and working together to improve the entire community. It just can't be you that it benefits. It has to be good for the entire community. Another one, really, we just need to put our heads together. Good for me, good for you. We put my idea and your idea together. That means for us to really develop, heads together, work together, respect one another. This is what we have to do. And so this idea of tête ensemble is really the basis of how they view development, of sitting together as equals and sharing ideas. Everyone's involved in the process, no one's left out. If you have an opinion, you can present it. And after this is the second theme, is a holistic view of development. And this is really saying it encompasses a broad variety of ideas. And oftentimes development is seen as economic growth. And really the only reference many of them made to economics at all was unemployment. And so one of the quotes from the peasant organization, development is material, mental, and economic. It's something that's all of these things. You need all of them for development. It places a lot of emphasis on this idea that it has to be a whole basket of factors, of education, of health, of economic growth. All of them working together at the same time. And them all moving together forward, that is development. And so to kind of elaborate on this quote I have on the board is actually the guy speaking right there with his hands, this is him speaking as he's saying this quote, is development is where each person can live comfortably. They don't lack food, and hunger doesn't kill people. There isn't much unemployment. There is work. People can wake up and work. All children go to school and have access to health care. Development is when everything you need to live, you can find. And you don't need to move to another place to live comfortably. There's electricity. People can find good water. As if to say, development is where people feel that they are human. They are living. This really basis of what they're saying is they want to live a life that's worth living, where they can access the things they want to do, they can achieve the goals they want. It's not focused as much on economics as it is on just having capacity. Okay, so after this is, in this education. It's a very important part. What they say is because they want to do these things themselves. They want to have education, what they call formation and sensibilisation, which really is any form of capacity building and awareness raising. And they say that with formation and with this, so sensibilisation, they can, with formation, we can raise our own awareness and also in turn raise the awareness of people around us. And this kind of leads into the idea of bottom-up implementation and self-sufficiency. They see this holistic view as necessary, education is part of it, because then they can undertake their own development. They don't need someone to do it for them. And so an example of this would be the tree nurseries. There's about 5 of them now that peasant organizations and Hope Together have made. And these are open to anyone who's able to use them. And a member of the organization I talked to, we made a tree nursery by asking people what they wanted and how we should go about doing it. And it's a very simple idea, but that's how they do everything with development. Is they go through, they sit with the community, they have meetings, they talk, they share ideas, and they work together so they can take it, find a solution, and then together have everyone participate in putting it together from the bottom to the top, having them doing it themselves. Actually, one of the groups kind of, when I was discussing a latrine project, adamantly tell me that they did not want Hope to build any latrines where they were, because they wanted to learn how to do it themselves, and they wanted to find the funding so they could do it. Because that's just the way to do it, is they want to do it. But there's also an understanding that they can't do everything. And so another response from the youth group, for me, there are 2 forms of development. There's development you can do personally that others can do for you. And this is kind of coming from the idea that they realize they don't have the money to do a lot of things. There's large projects they can't do. But all they ask is in those other larger projects is they're included in the process. And so to finish off, I have a short video of one of the respondents giving his answer. And this is one of the people I work with the most. He's the head of the water sanitation group. He is the one who did the activation for all the youth groups. He's the head of all those youth. And he walks around this entire area and knows pretty much everyone. And he did a better job than I can of really summarizing this point of view.
D'après vous, qui ça de la manière? Comment nous décrit ça?
Développement, en premier, c'est à travers l'idée de développement. C'est faut gagner toute l'idée d'abord. Faut gagner technique et discipline pour mettre en pratique. Et puis après, pour gagner moyens, pour gagner l'argent, pour faire son travail. Et développement, on sait que tout le monde qui n'a dit dans une zone qui est inclus dans le côté développement faire, supposé mettre mes participer pour faire une parce que si il y a un problème, par exemple, développement dans une zone, c'est un problème en source, par exemple. Même si nous venons, nous couvrons sous. Et puis tout le monde est campé, nous couvrons sous. Il n'y a pas qu'on aime qui ça nous couvre. Là, déjà, il y a un problème pour le développement parce que nous ne savons pas qu'on est ça. Il y a pas une crasée. Pour moi, le développement commence à travers l'esprit. Il faut que tout le monde, l'esprit, clair de ça, il veut faire. L'esprit connaît ça, il veut faire. Et c'est ça, tout le monde dans la zone veut. Pour comprendre, c'est lui qui a développé ça. Ce n'est pas ça que le monde vit nous. Non. Mais c'est ça, tout le monde dans la zone qui est bon. Ok? Pour que tout le monde mette main là-dedans. Ils collent ensemble. Ils font l'idée, venir ensemble. Et puis on entend sur même bagarre qui a fait ça. Et puis là, nous posons action en développement. Alors, en gros développement, c'est l'idée, participation, ok? Et puis pour résoudre ce qui développe.
So to quickly just summarize this last point is, right there he really did a good job of summarizing everyone that I talked to you of working together to complete this idea. So I leave you with any idea today is there's no really sweeping conclusions I can tell you from this data. This is showing, illustrating the importance of going and discussing with people in the area where development is happening, how development should be implemented, what they want, and how they think it should happen. The responses I have here would probably vary in different parts of Haiti. What they identify as needing isn't what people in Port-au-Prince would say they need. And really what's important about going and sitting with them is the idea of tête ensemble that they have, is making sure that every development project that's made is implemented in a way that the people there will accept it and want it to happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, if you will, let's hold our questions till everyone's talked. Just jot down your questions if you'd be so kind. Our